to protect and serve, the sworn oath of every police officer. But when it came to his girlfriend, Alexis, Ohio Police Sergeant Eric Paull operated by a different code. Thanksgiving night, in a heavily intoxicated rage, Eric begins to strangle his girlfriend. The last thing she remembers before passing out, she alleges, is being raped by the man she once trusted.
When I woke up, I was still face down, and my son was at the bottom of the stairs crying. And Eric was like, got off me and was like, go get your son, bitch.
You don't know at this point exactly what your son saw.
No.
But he was definitely there when you woke up.
After that, Eric left, and Alexis felt helpless, too afraid to call police, also known as Eric's employers.
Everything Eric did or said, he showed me that he was untouchable. He knew everyone, people he introduced me to. He would tell me he could kill me and get away with it, but all the time.
And so Alexis didn't file a report. Instead, she takes her own evidence photos and files them away for future use. The next day, Eric and Alexis have the following text exchange. Eric writes, quote, "I've never hurt someone before. I'm actually getting worse." Alexis responds, quote, "You crushed my throat. I felt all the pressure behind my eyes and ears ringing." Eric goes on to apologize for the assault, though he never says anything about the rape.
What happens after that with your relationship with him?
I just try to distance myself as much as possible. I was in that cycle, you know, and I thought I could slowly distance myself and he would leave me alone. Looking back, that was definitely not the case.
Instead, her life became a living hell. Constant texts, messages written in the snow. Eric refused to leave Alexis alone. But then she made a new friend. Just a friend, but a good one.
Talk to me about how you met Alexis.
We had some mutual friends on social media. Kind of just evolved from there.
Like Alexis, Brandon had kids. And for Alexis, it didn't hurt having someone around who could look out for her. But for Eric, Brandon looked like victim number 2.
Talk to me about the first time you met Eric Paull. What was that like?
So my initial contact with Mr. Paull wasn't a very good one.
Actor 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Someone's beating on my door. I don't know if they're trying to break in. They're beating on the window. I've got my young children here.
Was it the night in December when we were at Alexis's house with our children, and he attempted to force his way inside.
His 2 daughters were over. The girls got really scared. They're like, "What's going on, Dad? Like, I don't understand."
They are beating out of the door right now.
Okay, so they're trying to actually get in the house now?
Yes.
I mean, it started getting more fierce and going to different windows and the front door, the back door. I was concerned not only for our safety, but our children's safety.
Do you have any weapons in the house?
No.
Okay. Are they still trying to get in?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and get the kids upstairs. And go ahead and shut the door once you guys get in the room.
For the next several minutes, Brandon, Alexis, and the kids huddled in the bedroom, waiting for police to arrive, even though in a sick way, they were already there.
We should have an officer. Do you see an officer?
I was upstairs. The police show up and they come inside and Brandon says to them, "I know who it was that's trying to get in." And they said, "Who?" And he said, "Well, it's an Akron police sergeant." And he said their whole look on their face changed and they said, "We need to know who." And he said, "Eric Paull." And the sergeant was like, "Oh."
Then, instead of taking a report, Alexis says the officer took out his cell phone to call Eric.
Come to find out, it was a friend of his, ex-partner of his, that was the one that showed up at the residence.
Before they even leave my house, began getting threats from Eric. "I know what you have done."
Alexis tried to get responding officers to take a report, but she says they refused.
I said, he's gonna kill me. Like, he's crazy, he's lost his mind, he's sick, I need your help. He's like, I'm not making a report, I'll handle this. And they drove off.
Abandoned, she felt, by the very agency with any power to do something. And things were only about to get worse.
So Brandon leaves, and Eric calls me and says, if you don't come to my house right now, I'm gonna come and put a bullet in your son's head and kill you too. So I went.
And what happened?
I arrived at his house, and he said that he had taken a bunch of Ativan, and he was holding his gun. He tried to talk to me, you know how much I love you, and just all these controlling, manipulative statements, and I just was appeasing him. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, you know, I'm terrified.
Can you see it at that point, how bad things were?
Yes, but I was just in survival mode.
You're in survival
At that
mode.
point, I was still in survival mode.
After that, Alexis says she tried to keep her distance, making it clear she didn't want to see Eric again. But he didn't stay away. And then, April 6th, everything finally came to a head. Concerned for his friend, Brandon told Alexis she could hide out at his house the next town over.
So I went and I hid at my friend Brandon's house and pulled into the garage, turned my phone off. I was worried that there was some sort of tracking device on my phone. And so Brandon said, go ahead and use my phone if you want. I get on my Facebook. And what I found was completely crazy. He said he was going to every guy's house I'd ever dated. He was taking pictures of himself outside of these guys' houses. He can send me pictures of his gun. You know, he's like, if you can come at any time and I'll stop, but I'm not gonna stop if you don't show up.
But Alexis had no intention of leaving the safety of her hideout. Unfortunately, she couldn't stay hidden for long.
Finally, he messages me. He says, I figured it out. You took your dog to your mom's house and you're hiding at Brandon's. You coward.
Gripped by fear, Alexis feels stuck in a merciless nightmare that just won't end.
He's out in front of my house.
And you're sure that your dad is home at that address?
Yes.
Coming up, how far would the sinister sergeant go to exact his revenge?
I received a phone call from one of the detectives. I remember she said, I'm gonna need you to sit down for what I'm about to tell you.